Donald Trump, the self-proclaimed real smart guy, told Fox News' Chris Wallace over this past weekend that, quote, nobody really knows if climate change is happening or what's causing it or if it's even real. Again, got to point out the fact that this past weekend as well, Donald Trump told reporters on Fox News that he was like a real smart guy. And for a real smart guy to say that nobody knows if climate change is real or if it is, what's causing it, is probably one of the dumbest things that I have heard throughout this entire campaign season, and that says a lot. Because if this real smart guy, Donald Trump, ever bothered to maybe pick up a scientific journal, or hell, even just read an article, probably not American media because we're horrible at covering climate change, but maybe something from The Guardian or Al Jazeera, you would understand without a doubt that there is no dissent within the scientific community. We're looking at about 98% of scientists today who have concluded that yes, climate change is very real and that human activity is causing it. If he needs any more proof, maybe he could ask his little buddy Rex Tillerson, the Exxon CEO who's about to become our next Secretary of State, because after all, we also know now that Exxon knew that climate change was occurring, and they knew that man's carbon pollution, the burning of carbon and releasing it into our atmosphere, was causing the problem. They knew that back in the 1970s, according to their own document, a decade before scientists ever brought the issue of global warming to Congress and to the American public. Exxon was the first place, first group, first company, first organization in the United States to really understand the concept of global warming. So this smart guy, Donald Trump, still believes that we don't know. And maybe that's true for him. Maybe he, honest to God, can't comprehend the science. Maybe he doesn't understand the conversations that he had with Leonardo DiCaprio or Al Gore about the issue of climate change. Maybe he doesn't understand the science that all of the insurance companies insuring coastal cities understand, that they know they're looking at hundreds of billions of dollars in economic losses due to rising sea levels. Maybe he doesn't understand the fact that climate change is linked to the droughts that have then caused all these wildfires in the United States. Maybe he just can't quite get that because it doesn't affect him, right now at least. Donald Trump does know that climate change is real. He's not a smart guy, but he's not, he's average intelligence. I would probably give him that. And it's real easy to comprehend. When you have almost 98% of all academic studies on climate change concluding the exact same thing, you kind of need to err on the side of the scientists. Especially considering the fact that Donald Trump put so much stock into Exxon, enough to put their CEO as his Secretary of State, when Exxon's known about climate change longer than anyone else. It's very real. It is a real threat. And it is something that the Trump administration, regardless of how many times we say it, they're not going to take it seriously. Ivanka Trump is not going to come out and be the climate savior that everybody wants her to be. She doesn't have that kind of pull over her father. Her father only cares about one thing, and that's money. Now, if Ivanka dressed up as maybe a $100 bill, he might take her seriously. But until then, he doesn't care what she has to say. That's the kind of crappy human being that he is. And until climate change directly destroys his businesses and his personal wealth, he's not going to care. Because it doesn't matter what happens in Middle America. It doesn't matter what happens in coastal cities. It doesn't matter what happens overseas as far as climate change. Until it directly affects Donald Trump, he is going to continue repeating the line that we just don't know. We don't know. The science isn't concluded. Maybe it's just a natural cycle. Look, it's cold outside today, so I guess climate change isn't real. That's not good enough, and it certainly isn't good enough for a world leader who actually, worth pointing out, will be the only industrialized, westernized leader in the world who actively denies that climate change actually exists.